a traditional oval. At the Yamaha Atlanta Short Track presented by Cycle Gear, it's American flat track racing. Classic short track action in front of a huge crowd here at Dixie Speedway.
Flat track motorcycle racing. Just to recall what it was like in the beginning, let us take a quick look back at the turn of the century. It takes stout lads like them to go for this kind of competition. It's trials like this that have made the two-wheel little giant the tough piece of mechanism it is today. Take a look at this motorcycle.
Each of today's races draws large crowds from all over the country.
It's a revolution.
Testing and bettering, testing and perfecting. Right on, cowboy.
The wave of the future.
You got a good start anyway.
Yeah, and we'll see how hot I was the whole time.
Every chance I get to race, I enjoy it.
What will you do? How hard are you willing to go? Will you let fear win? Or will you rise?
Big one for Jared Mees.
And find victory.
Shayna Hexter takes the win.
It changes the way we look at racing.
A big crowd of motorcycle enthusiasts on hand here at Dixie Speedway in Georgia. And all eyes on BAUMAN. The hunter has become the hunted. He is now the points leader after winning the opener. And your defending series champion, Jared Mees, on the back foot after not finishing due to mechanical problems in Daytona. Meanwhile, now that we're at the ovals, riders like Jeffrey Carver looking to take advantage and get on the podium. In the singles division, what a story. It is go time. Dalton Gauthier, the comeback kid, a solid performance at the opener, and Shayna Hexter looks to bounce back. Not a TT specialist, but she could be good tonight. Jason Wygant with multi-time winner in so many different driving disciplines. AJ Allmendinger, Kristen Beat will be reporting from the track. A lot of unique motorcycles here in the pits. We watched a unique racetrack last week.
This is what it's about, to go win at Daytona. The prestige of it, you win the first race, it kicks off your championship, and it lets everybody else in the series know, hey, I'm the guy to beat.
Jesse Janish wins the Daytona TT in the singles class.
Front tire dip over the jump, carrying a ton of speed.
Oh, JD Beach throws the front end down. A rare unforced error for Jared Mees. When you get the opportunity, can you do the most with it? BAUMAN has done it. He takes the factory Indian ride to the top spot. Well, the big story, not just BAUMAN winning, but struggles for some of its teammates.
Yeah, BAUMAN setting the tone at Daytona, winning with his new factory Indian team. But Jared Mees struggled all night, had a mechanical at the end, really has put himself in the bottom of the points, having to rebound tonight.
Brian Smith, another title favorite, also with mechanical problems. He finished 15th there, so it's a rebound race for many. Let's talk about the short track here.
Yeah, the Atlanta Short Track, that Georgia red clay, really unique. 3/8 mile, it's progressive banking. It really sets up and creates bar banging, tight action, multiple grooves. It's gonna be an awesome night.
And very slick, and all the riders trying to figure out how to get traction on this red clay surface. One rider looking for a bounce back. We'll find out from Kristen Beat.
Thanks, Jason. Jared Mees, Brian Smith, Colby Carlisle, and JD Beach. 4 riders looking to put the Daytona TT behind them. Now, earlier in the day, I had a chance to check in with JD Beach, and he told me he's not only getting used to a new bike with the Essenson Racing Yamaha group, but he's also getting used to a new team. He's learning how they work together as a team. During the week, they did a little testing, made some adjustments. He is going to be a rider tonight to watch.
Well, we'll get to watch a bunch of riders here with their AFT twins presented by Vance & Hines Storylines. These are the highlights of semi number 1. JD Beach is in this one, but a bad start. He struggles up front. You got Henry Wiles on the 17, Jeffrey Carver on the 23, Brandon Robinson on the 44.
Yeah, you got Brandon Robinson right here going around the outside of Jeffrey Carver to move into second to try to chase down Henry Wiles.
All right, so the outside line works for Robinson, who's looking for a rebound, not race, but season, now that he's switched from Harley-Davidson to Indian, and he makes tracks up to Wiles, and here it comes.
Last lap here through turn 1 and 2, we saw Brandon Robinson work the top, down the back straightaway, trying to find a way around Henry Wiles. He's gonna go down into 3, put the slide job on him, but Henry Wiles lets him slide up the racetrack, gets the power down, beats him back to the line.
Can I say it? Slide job! He tried. It didn't work, though. Wiles able to hold Robinson off, but a good charge by Robinson to try to reestablish himself as a player in this championship. Carver holds on for third. We'll give you the live call here as we're ready for semi number 2. A lot of big hitters in this one.
Yeah, what stands out to me is that BRIAR BAUMAN, Jared Mees battle. Can Jared Mees show yet? I'm still the top dog in this team.
Bauman on the 14, Mees on the 1. Let's go racing. A good jump on the number 20, Vanderkoy on the Harley. You see him in orange there. But it's going to be Bauman. Oh! Vanderkoy goes down there outside of turn 2.
Looks like he's injured here, limping at least. Hopefully he can get up and get that bike fixed and get ready for the restart.
Yeah, wheel and caution lights are on, so we are going to restart it. Take us through what happened to Vanderkoy.
You're going to see Vanderkoy just lose the rear tire getting in the corner. It's very slick there on the bottom. Slides up the racetrack, goes down.
Take another look here. Everybody talking about traction, AJ.
Yeah, really trying to carry a lot of speed, move up that progressive banking so he can get a shot off the corner and get to the lead and just lose the rear tire.
All right, looks like they've got it together. The crew gives him the fist pound. That's the good news. The bad news, he has to start in the back row because he caused the red flag restart. So you see him there on the number 20 in the back. Got to make top 8 to get into the main. Bauman going to try again from the inside. And another good jump for the 14, but here comes Jared Mees around the outside of the 1.
Bauman getting the drive on the bottom here. Drag race down the back straightaway into turn 3.
Yeah, it's the showdown we wanted to see. The champion versus the challenger. And sliding up the racetrack to lock down the lead is the 14 of Bauman. Here comes Mees again. Not enough room for the number 1 to get it done. And also Jake Johnson on the Yamaha, number 5 right there as well. And Varnes on the 68. Ryan Smith on the 4 trying to get in this. He also needs a bounce back from Daytona, but so far Bauman holding up under pressure from Mees.
BRIAR BAUMAN been fast all night, starting to pull a lead on Jared Mees.
3 wide here in this battle for third. Smith on the 4 all the way in the bottom. Varnes and Johnson fighting it out. Look at Bauman.
Bauman working different lines right now, finding any place for some grip. All the riders talking about how slick this racetrack is right now. He's searching.
And in addition, AJ, we've gone from day to night now, so the traction is going to change quite a bit more.
And especially on this Georgia red clay, with each lap that is run by a bike, it works a different part of the racetrack. We can see right in the middle, it's really dry slick. Riders are just trying to find any type of bite they can to get off these corners.
I'll tell you who's finding it. The 20 of Vanderkoy, remember, started on the back row, and he has worked his way up to 5th and closing on Varnes on the 68, and Smith on the 4. Smith locking down 3rd, but watch Vanderkoy.
Vanderkoy, used to passing riders, had to start last at the Daytona TT, rode all the way up to 4th. He's doing again in this semi.
Ryan Varnes doing everything he can to hold Vanderkoy off. This is a good run for Varnes. Vanderkoy going from outside to inside. And I think Vanderkoy is going to make that low line work. Now, the same story, by the way, we're talking about for Jared Mees. Similar for Brian Smith. His bike broke on the last lap of Daytona. He's not a TT specialist. He just wanted a solid points night. It was going to happen until the mechanical, so he needs points tonight. And it looks pretty good there in 3rd. But meanwhile, the story is the same up front. TT or short track, BRIAR BAUMAN on the gas. Oh, here comes Vanderkoy, AJ.
Jared Vanderkoy working the outside. Brian Smith really working the bottom of that racetrack, getting good bite off the corner.
Able to hold the 20 of Vanderkoy off. Meanwhile, Johnson has slipped back to 8th, so he is just trying to cling to the final transfer spot to the main on the Estenson Yamaha.
You can see Brian Smith there. That brake rotor starting to glow. He's using a lot of brakes, getting in the corner, trying to run that low line. Vanderkoy gonna turn under him. Got him, turn 1, up to position 3.
That's pretty good from row 3 to 3rd place. So Vanderkoy and that Vance and Hines Harley-Davidson machine, he could be a player in the main. But still overall a good rebound on the Crosley-Howerton machine for Brian Smith. Checkered flag is out. Bauman does it again. I know it's only a semi, it doesn't pay points. But he was able to pull away from Jared Mees. Gotta mean something.
Setting the tone in this race team. BRIAR BAUMAN showing right now he has confidence on any type of racetrack he gets on.
Vanderkoy, a good run to 3rd over Smith, and Larry Pegram going to the main with a 5th. Let's send it down to Kristen.
Briar, you were really making it look easy out there. You were kind of floating along the top of the groove and leaning so far to the inside. Kind of explain what you were doing out there and how it was working for you.
I was just searching, really. The track is so slick right now. I didn't expect it to be like that at all. So just looking for the main event. We have 25 laps, so we'll have to have something that works for us the whole time. And, yeah, we might have to search a little bit, so that's what I was doing.
Well, he's searching, but he's also winning. Same for Henry Wiles, who took the first semi in the 17. Twins main event coming up later in the show. But next up, our singles class, the comeback kid. Dalton Gauthier, second at our opener at Daytona. This track, the site of his last win 2 years ago. We'll talk to him about his comeback when we return. American Flat Track on NBCSN is brought to you by Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. If you go down, call Russ Brown. By Roof Systems of Dallas, Texas, the entitlement sponsor of AFT Singles. And by Yamaha, the title sponsor of the Atlanta Short Track. It's the Yamaha Atlanta Short Track presented by Cycle Gear. We transition to our singles division. At our series opener, the TT specialist won the Daytona TT, Jesse Janisch, but quite a story in second place.
Yeah, Dalton Gauthier been out for 2 years to come back. Been really impressive, showing the speed that he has. Here tonight in Atlanta, been the guy to beat.
And behind the scenes, a lot of the credit goes to his tuner, Rob McClendon, who's the one that got him back to the races. Maybe they're building a championship effort.
Life without racing was pretty harsh. Didn't do much without it, honestly. Just sat at home, didn't have a job. It sucked. It was pretty heartbreaking, honestly. I mean, I didn't know really. I thought it was the end of my career.
Big news, Dalton Gauthier, AMA Pro Racing has now suspended him indefinitely due to violating a substance abuse policy.
It was a long time off the bike, but I'm back now. It's been a while, but I feel pretty good being back on the bike. Thankfully, I have Rob to help me and get me back on my feet and get back on the motorcycle.
Dalton reached out to me and just said, hey, he wanted to get back into it. And as simple as it sounds, I said, if you give me 100% on the bike, I'm gonna give you 100% off the bike. I just saw this opportunity to help somebody out that clearly needed to be helped.
It's been pretty great working with Rob. I don't have to be stressed out about anything, and I know that my bike's gonna be working good every time I get on it. We're like brothers, so it's pretty cool, and we get along great.
Taking off for 2 years from such a competitive field of riders that have all elevated their game, it was so refreshing to see Dalton catch up to 2 years of downtime.
I was pretty surprised that I could race Daytona. I did all of my stuff that I needed to do for road to recovery, so got the call from AFT and they let me race, and I was pretty stoked about it.
And Dalton Gauthier, welcome back to racing. He is now back as if he hadn't missed a beat.
Daytona was pretty sweet.
I'm ecstatic right now. I can't believe I'm up here right now.
I'm just happy I got to race and get some points, and finishing second was even cooler.
I absolutely firmly believe that Dalton can be a factor in this championship, as I believe from day one he could ride a popsicle stick and get on the podium.
Checkered flag out. Dalton Gauthier has won the first 2 rounds of 2017.
I won here by a big margin last time I was here, so I plan on doing it again, and I know what I need to do to win, so this year is going to be really good, and just stoked to be back.
Well, he's nicknamed Go Time, and it looks like it's go time again.
Yeah, 2 things really stand out to me in that piece. You got to have the right people around you on and off the racetrack, and with that, Dalton has so much confidence in himself that he knows he is the guy to beat even after missing 2 years.
And he was very fast throughout qualifying today, so there's a reason to be that confident. Last year here at the Atlanta Short Track, a huge crash in the singles division. It was Ryan Wells who goes down and ignites all of that. He would rebound to be a title contender throughout the rest of the season. And now he's with Kristen.
Ryan Wells finishing 11th at the Daytona TT, 1 spot shy of cracking that top 10 this weekend in Atlanta in 2018, a collision that you were involved in, that you triggered, nearly took out half of the field. How do you kind of put that behind you moving towards this weekend?
Pretty much just realizing that it's never really happened before in my life, so just going to try to move forward with it. It's racing, I guess, you know, a simple mistake caused a huge, probably the biggest wreck of the year, so definitely want to keep my wheels in line this year and definitely stay off the ground.
It's been said that this weekend we'll see the Yamaha have a bigger impact than we saw at Daytona, and we're going to see what this Yamaha really has for the 2019 season. Why is that?
Yeah, Daytona's just a racer's racetrack. I think any good rider could do pretty well on any motorcycle. But for me personally, this Yamaha's been awesome for me. I think it really fits my riding style, and it was just a perfect fit from the first time I got on it. So I really think on a technical racetrack like today, slippery, big rolling momentum racetrack, a bike that fits a rider like a glove is it's going to be key.
We'll see how well the Estenson Yamaha fits him. It's the Roof Systems of Dallas, Texas singles class. Here are our storylines. Dalton Gauthier making the move on Shayna Texter in a great battle, Heat 1.
Showing that he still has the speed even from 2017 here at the Atlanta Short Track.
Shayna needs a rebound. She didn't make the main at Daytona. She keeps him close. Second place finish, she will advance through. But Gauthier continues to raise some eyebrows here. No surprise, Heat 2 with Red Bull KTM. Last year's champ, Dan Bromley, takes the win. And a good battle here. Morgan Mishler making the move in the Suzuki. Chad Kos. Right down to the wire it goes. Kos keeps it close. And Mishler takes the win. Ryan Wells is able to put the crash from last year behind him. He wins heat race number 4. Now we go to the semis. Big crash here from Ferran Cardus.
Yeah, he hooks the rear tire, goes down, does not make tonight's main event.
Was able to get up, but not qualified for the main. Battle is on. Kevin Stallings on the 99, the red Honda, trying to get inside of Shayna Texter, just ahead. Dan Bromley second, and again, a victory for Dalton Gauthier. Just dominant so far, and here he and Bromley are talking about the race as soon as the race concludes. We go on to semi number 2. Track's coming around. Look at all the lines.
This is what the Atlanta Short Track's all about. 5 riders battling for second place. You can see the brake rotor glowing on Tristan Avery. Battle for second, but Morgan Mishler was dominating semi 2.
Yeah, and Avery able to make that move around the outside of Wells to take second. Janish into the main, and Oliver Brindley as well. So our field is set. Last year we had 10 different riders win races in the singles division, so you know this class is wide open. Let's get one more pre-race report from Kristen.
Mikey Rush on the RMR Honda finished 4th in Daytona, and he qualified 9th here today. Since stepping into the singles division, he's found immediate success, and something we talked about earlier in the day is how well his body actually fits this bike in this class. Mikey is 5'7", about 135 pounds. He's heavy enough to weigh the bike down on the start, but also light enough to allow the 450 to carry him on the straightaways. Now, something he also noted, that being on a team rather than a privateer program, not having to stress about getting his bike from A to Z, allows him to focus on racing full-time. A few beneficial factors priming Mikey Rush for a competitive 2019 season.
Also a team underneath Shayna Texter now with the Red Bull KTM factory outfit. And there's Gauthier, fast in qualifying, wins his heat and semi, and he won this race 2 years ago. And Morgan Mishler looks strong in the semis and heats as well. Don't count out the number 69. We get ready to go racing, but as I mentioned in the singles class, AJ, any one of these guys can win as you look at the Russ Brown starting lineup.
Yeah, this is what the single class is all about. Competitive riding. It's going to be fun to watch who can find that grip as this track slickens up.
Yeah, and it has changed throughout the day and night, so everyone's got a game plan. We'll see how it works. 15 laps, 16 riders. Time for the main event in the singles class. Wheel and start lights go off, and it looks like Gauthier is going to grab it. Going to lead them out of turn 2 with Bromley on the number 1 in second.
Shot out of a cannon. Gauthier says, come and chase me down.
Tristan Avery in the 16 going to try to work the high line in third. Bromley pulling right up on the rear tire of Gauthier, so a little showdown in the brewing here.
Bromley's been looking at Gauthier's rear tire all night, trying to learn something, seeing if he can kind of hook on and run him down.
Ooh, Avery hooked up when he didn't expect it in third. And the mistake is going to allow Kevin Stallings on the 99 to take over the position. But what a battle up front. Gauthier and Bromley. And everyone's searching for that grip you're talking about. 5 wide in that corner.
It is a delicate challenge right now. You want to throttle down, but you just spin the rear tire.
Bromley giving it a look down the inside. Let's send it down to Kristen.
Shayna Texter is back in action this week. She said the banking feels like home. She can stay on the gas, and this is really a track that falls into her wheelhouse. I would not be surprised if she works her way forward in this race.
The starts are always a problem for Texter. She's very light, struggles with traction, but she's trying to work her way through as Bromley, losing a little bit of ground near leader Gauthier. Meanwhile, look at this battle. Again, I said it was 5 wide, 5 riders fighting for the number 3 spot. You got Wells with the number 94 blue Yamaha right in it, Stallings on the Honda. Tristan Avery on the 16.
Every lap, these riders just trying to search, find a different line, find somewhere, whether it's in the blue groove in the middle or up top, maybe find a little moisture to get some traction.
Mishler using the high line, and that has helped him to move into 3rd. So we watch 4th, 5th, and 6th. Stallings, Wells, Avery.
Seems like all night, Avery's rear brake rotor been glowing, using a lot of brake, getting in the corners, trying to get that bike slowed down.
Yeah, that thing is red hot, literally, but he's still working that high line. He's cleared Wells for the moment. Now Wells all the way down to the bottom, tries to get him back.
You can see the bodies moving around on these bikes. They're up on the handlebars, they're back on the seat, doing everything they can right now to find a little bit of speed.
Look at Wells. He not only holds off Avery, I thought he was about to make the pass for a 4th on Stallings, who's on the 99. He worked the inside, now he's gonna work the outside. Wells is all over this racetrack, going pretty quick. But out front, the quickest man right now is Dalton Gauthier. He's making tracks up front and extending the lead over last year's champ, Dan Bromley. On board with Dalton Gauthier on the D&D Cycles Honda. Got the whole shot, took off in this one, and continues to hold that number 1 spot. We go back to this battle. Ryan Wells and Kevin Stallings passed each other probably half a dozen times so far in this race. Wells gonna try to make another move.
You can see Wells slide back under Stallings as Stallings tried to put a slider on him, turned back under him, cleared him. Battle for 4th, still rages on.
And raging toward the front, Mikey Rush on the Honda. See, he's got Shayna Texter right behind him. Not a good start for the man who was 4th at Daytona. Oh, just makes another move on Avery. Battle for 2nd is on. Dan Bromley has been caught and now passed very quickly. Morgan Mishler on a mission. Bromley gonna try to get him back on the bottom.
Morgan Mishler, each lap had been tracking down Bromley a 10th at a time. Finally has made the move. See if he can chase down Dalton Gauthier.
On the KTM, back by Waters Auto Body. Yeah, let's see if he can make a late charge and bring Bromley with him. This is 2nd and 3rd with Gauthier just ahead. Oh, but Gauthier looks so smooth tonight, AJ. Oh, there's his tuner, Rob McClendon. He's nervous because this could be the first victory since his comeback.
One of Dalton's biggest strengths is searching around different lines. You can just see the emotion right now between his mechanic, Dalton Gauthier, 1 to go to get back on the winning track in the singles class.
I mean, it's incredible. The goal was to just go racing again, to win in his 2nd time out. The comeback kid, this is legit. It is once again go time, because Dalton Gauthier's comeback includes a victory now in Atlanta. And Rob McClendon, the emotions pouring out. He's the one that helped get this man back to the races, and it has paid off. And by the way, with a 2nd in round 1 and a win here, he's the points leader now as well. Congrats from Dan Bromley. And saluting the fans who certainly appreciate the effort of this man to bring Gauthier back to the races. And we got a championship story beginning to brew here.
Man, Jason, this is what racing's all about. This raw emotion, watching it, I start to tear up. You just love when you see a comeback story like Dalton Gauthier.
Yeah, they've ridden through the highs, the lows, and now back to the highs. Last time he was here in Atlanta in 2017, he won it, and he has done it again. Good run for Morgan Mishler. Dan Bromley's all about podiums. That's why he's the champ. He takes 3rd, but Ryan Wells, here he's going to be disqualified. Bike did not pass post-race inspection. There's the rest of the results. Let's send it to Kristen with a very emotional winner.
Dalton, I know a lot of emotion in this moment for you. The comeback kid, a name that you've begun to own. During that race, the man who got you back on a bike, the man who put you back out here, Rob McClendon, was in tears. What kind of emotions are you experiencing in this moment to come back through all you've been through and take the win here at Dixie Speedway?
It's crazy that I won it, honestly. I knew I had a fighting chance at winning it today. It's pretty crazy. I made it 2 in a row. I'm pretty stoked about it, and I'm so excited right now. I can't believe this. Can't thank Rob enough for taking me under his wing and doing everything he can for me, and supplying me a bike for this year, and supplying me everything, a house to sleep at, food to eat, and a job, and a track to ride at in Pensacola. So I can't thank my sponsors enough for letting me, supporting me and still believing in me, and I can't believe I just won that. It's crazy. 2 in a row feels really good.
Yes, and those 2 podiums in a row makes him the points leader by a solid gap. Janish was decent tonight, Bromley as well. They're still in the hunt, but it's a long season with a lot of different racetracks. Probably going to be a wild championship chase in the singles division, like it always is. Shout out to our podium finishers, Mishler and Bromley, putting 2 KTMs up there behind the Honda of Gautier. That's the way Bromley did it last year, man. He was the most consistent rider. But with Dalton Gautier in the field, this is going to serve some notice. It's going to be a tough customer to beat for this title. As for our twins division, same story beginning to develop with BRIAR BAUMAN. We'll talk to him about life on and off the track after this. American Flat Track on NBCSN is brought to you by Indian Motorcycle. Be legendary. By Vance & Hines, the presenting sponsor of AFT Twins. By American Flat Tracker Clothing Company. Find your groove at AmericanFlatTracker.com. Well, these are the 3 riders that nailed their bike setup in the singles class. Your podium with Bromley, Mishler, and your winner, Gautier. Setup is so critical, especially on a slick track like this. So to get to the Dunlop tire talk, riders can choose multiple tire compounds to figure out this slick racetrack in Atlanta. Let's talk to some mechanics about their decisions.
We're going to be running the R5, Dunlop R5 tire. We feel that it's going to probably give us the best traction in the main tonight.
This week we're going with the Dunlop R5. The track's really greasy out there. They've been putting a lot of water down. So we want to just keep a good traction, and we think the R8's going to be too much of a hard selection for us today, so we're going to stick with the R5.
So the softer compound wins, but Mies was experimenting a bit throughout the day.
Yeah, Jared Mies has been on the R8 all day. Now switching to the R5. It'll be interesting to see how it reacts over the course of a 25-lap main.
And we'll see how it reacts since he's not used to running it like the other riders who are riding it all day. Now, we know the reaction here. Heartbreak for Brian Smith on the last lap of Daytona. The checker flag's coming out. His bike breaks. Kristen had a chance to catch up with our 2016 champ.
Brian Smith closed out the 2018 American Flat Track season in the Twins class with back-to-back wins. However, a disappointing start here in 2019.
Yeah, racing, it's a roller coaster ride. We ended last season on a high note. First race of Daytona, we're on a low note. We had a mechanical. So to come out of there 15th, couple points, we're just going to move on and hopefully turn it back around and ride the roller coaster back up here in Atlanta.
You told me that this team in 2019 that you're on is like an old pair of jeans. Why is that?
Yeah, it's just the old band. It's the guys that I had the most success with in my career. They're all back together, back on the bike that I like, that's tailored to me. So, you know, there's no tricks to this. It's just getting comfortable and being racy, and I feel like I can do that anywhere we go.
Well, we know this man is comfortable. BRIAR BAUMAN, who really dominated the Daytona TT, the opener. He's having a great time on and off the track.
Winning at Daytona was huge. It was a new racetrack, so I think adapting to the track was something that's pretty key. To be able to do that better than everyone else feels pretty good.
BRIAR BAUMAN wins!
Winning anywhere is big, but being in Daytona is special. This offseason, I spent the whole time in Florida and got to train and just focus on racing. Dick Tibbetts came on board, the Factory Indian team, and helped us out with a lot of heart rate stuff and just trying to focus on keeping calm, not getting excited, and doing your job. Right now, I'm just trying to do the same thing I did in Daytona, and that's go out extremely anxious, try and show that I still have something to prove, and do our thing.
Indian Motorcycle has the addition of the BAUMAN brothers.
To have Bronson in the pit, I think it's been good for him to see the seriousness that it takes to be competitive at the top level. He wants to win as bad as I do, I know that, and he's going to do everything he can. Hopefully he doesn't do that. I don't want him to do that because that means I'm not, but if anyone else is going to, I'd like it to be him. On race day, it's great with Shayna, and the surfaces on our racetracks, they're always changing, so just kind of dropping hints saying, hey, the track's doing this, or maybe watch out for that is a plus, it's a benefit for her and I at least. We both want to win, we put a lot into this, and overall it's a good thing for me, and it's a good thing for her to both race, be in the same paddock, and be able to help each other grow as racers. There's a lot of racers that are really good on these racetracks, and I've maybe struggled a little bit in the past. My program's great. It's the passion and desire to win through everyone inside the pit. Everyone inside our little area wants to win as bad as I do, so it means a lot to me to know that every weekend they're bringing the same intensity and the same mindset that I do, and it's motivating. I've always put everything into my program that I can, and to have that in return through Factory Indian is great.
Well, for 1 week, BRIAR BAUMAN has got to enjoy life at the top of the AFT Twins point standings. Can he keep it going and win 2 in a row to start the season? Our main event is next. It's the Yamaha Atlanta Short Track presented by Cycle Gear. AFT Twins class presented by Vance and Hines. Their main event now on the grid. And what's so cool early in the season, you really never know who the true contenders are. Brandon Robinson, who was switched to an Indian this year, he could be a contender. Jared Mees, you can never count out the defending series champ who needs a bounce back after a rough Daytona. BRIAR BAUMAN is the points leader, the man they're all shooting for. But as you look at the grid, it's wide open. It's round 2, and the first race was a TT. What's going to happen on an oval?
That's what we're going to see. It's going to be an awesome race. Brandon Robinson's been quick all night. BRIAR BAUMAN showing that it's not just a TT speed. He's fast here in Atlanta. It's going to be a great race.
Riders are taking their positions. Let's send it down to Kristen Beat one more time with a pre-race report.
Thanks, Jason. When I spoke with Jeffrey Carver earlier in the day, he explained to me that he races on adrenaline. He said he likes to find lines that other riders aren't using. So I watched some film on Jeffrey from 2018 at this track, and he was actually running so high on the track, his foot pegs were nearly touching the wall. He explained to me today that the traction at the top of the track is worth the precise demands of running that close to the wall. That's where he feels comfortable. That's where he's finding the most speed, and that's where he's lining up for this main event. Jason, I'll be watching this race, curious to see if Jeffrey Carver starts to use those risky lines and if they benefit him in this race.
Yeah, I talked to Jeffrey at Daytona. He's big on watching video of himself, kind of like Kristen did, to figure out those lines and to set up the motorcycle. We'll see if he gets right on the outside of the 23. Revs are up. Let's go racing here in Atlanta. Bad jump for BAUMAN on the inside of the 14. Looks like Henry Wiles on 17 going to try to control it. Mees on the outside. Brandon Robinson in the middle. But it's Wiles to the lead. BAUMAN way down to the bottom.
Jared Mees trying to roll the top. Gets around the outside of Henry Wiles, leads lap 1.
That inside line did not work, though, for BAUMAN, AJ.
He's back to 6th, a tough start. He's got a lot of work to do to run down the leaders.
Woo, close quarters between the 17 of Wiles, the 44 of Robinson. They almost touched in the battle for 2nd and 3rd. Jared Mees, though, doing what he does. He's going to try to roll away from the comp.
This is what the field doesn't want to see. Jared Mees leading, gaining confidence after a rough Daytona.
You've also got the 23 of Carver. He has jumped into the fray as well in 4th, and Vander Kooi on the Harley is there in 5th. But Mees starting to inch away a bit from Wiles and Robinson.
That softer R5 Dunlop seems like it's really working for Jared Mees right now.
Yeah, in the semi, had the R8. He got beat by BAUMAN. He switched tires, and he switched the result as he starts to march away. Great racing behind him, though. Look at Robinson trying to find a spot to get around the 17 of Wiles.
I've been watching Brandon Robinson all night. He's riding that bike nice and straight, running the high line, but he ducks under Henry Wiles into turn 3. This time he makes it stick.
The rejuvenation machine for Brandon Robinson. Hasn't won a race since 2016. Switched to an Indian this year. He's got help from Jerry Kennedy, his old tuner, and he's up to the number 2 position. Meanwhile, BRIAR BAUMAN, so much talk about last week's winner, as you mentioned, went back early off the start. to see if he can get back into this fight. There's the 14. He's right behind Van der Kooi in the 20.
BRIAR BAUMAN now having to run where riders aren't. Running the bottom, trying to find some traction down there.
So SNS on board with Mies. Robinson and Wiles aren't too far back. It looked like Mies was going to make a rout of it early. Oh, man, good drive off of that corner, though. Starting to stretch it again. Look at this. Bauman, inside line. He's persistent down there. He almost used it to make a pass on Van der Kooi.
You have to be so ginger riding down there on the bottom. Can't throttle up too soon. We're going to see if he can pull the slider on Van der Kooi. Got it, up to 5th.
Ooh, wow. Well, I got to give him credit that inside worked against him early in the race, but he's just stuck with it, and now it's starting to come back. See if he can pull Van der Kooi to the front with him. He's got that battle in front of him with Robinson and Wiles. Wiles, by the way, was second at our opener at Daytona, so he could even be looking at a points lead if he has a nice run here. But Robinson not making it easy on him. Now it's going to be Bauman on the 14 against Wiles on the 17, and Bauman, that inside line, really coming together.
BRIAR seems like he's found just a little bit of moisture down there. Right in the middle of the racetrack, we see Henry Wiles. It's dry slick right there. BRIAR BAUMAN find a little bit of moisture, but the problem is there's not a lot of banking down there, so he keeps sliding up, losing the traction on the exit.
He's going to try it again. Wiles been at this game for a long time, was second in the series last year. It's going to be tough to get around him. Meanwhile, Carver in third, Robinson second. Can they make a run at Jared Mies? It's like Robinson's coming on the 44. Battle is on here for the lead at the Yamaha Atlanta Short Track, presented by Cycle Gear. It's American Flat Track. Jared Mies, we've got the onboard, and you can see the 44 of Brandon Robinson. Second place is starting to close, AJ.
Tracking Jared Mies down. Each lap he gets closer, that confidence builds for Brandon Robinson.
Meanwhile, what a battle back here. Carver, Wiles, Bauman, really going at it for that final podium spot. Bauman has had an impressive charge after some struggled laps early in this race. We're on board now with Brian Smith on the Crosley-Howerton machine. Got the Kawasaki motor pulling. He's got Bronson Bauman on the Indian right behind him. Smith trying to get toward a top 5 tonight. Get back in this points championship after his bike broke and he didn't finish at the opener. Look at the 14 of Bauman. He is back in a big way.
BRIAR BAUMAN still working that bottom right now, trying to find a way around Jeffrey Carver. Puts the slide job on him, gets into third. Can he hold on to it? No, Jeffrey Carver back under him.
Some classic short track action. He's gonna try it again down on the inside. Whoa, did that get close? And look at Wiles, says thanks for opening the hole. He gets around Carver as well.
BRIAR BAUMAN sends it. Says Jeffrey Carver, turn down if you're ready, but I'm sliding in here.
He's got it, and Robinson has got it. He's got a hook in Jared Mies. We're about to have a duel for the #1 spot. Rarely do you see someone track Jared Mies down, but Robinson, a bit of a wild card this season, went back to his old team, and clearly he's got the old mojo back. We didn't know exactly what to expect, but it looks pretty good right now.
Has Jared Mies used up that rear tire? Remember, he was on the harder compound all night, switched to the softer for the main. Has he used it up?
And we've seen so many different lines work on this short track. Where is Robinson gonna try to make the move? He tried it on the high line.
Jared Mies pinched him off in the wall. Brandon Robinson working that high line. You can see his eyes searching down the back straightaway, looking for a place to get around Jared Mies.
Oh, this is awesome. Flat track's all about it. It's a high-speed game of chess. The outside line attempt again by Robinson, and this time he clears him.
Got it. Off of turn 2 to the lead, Brandon Robinson. Does Jared Mies have anything left to try to track down Brandon Robinson?
Well, the man who's dominated the last 2 seasons of this on that factory Indian, you gotta figure he's got some tricks to try to get back around him. But Robinson holding tough right now on the 44 and actually starting to pull away.
Brandon Robinson right now flowing, running that high groove. He's been running it all day, all night, feeling it. 2 laps to go.
And another thing you pointed out, keeping the bike straight.
Yeah, he's been so smooth, trying to make sure he doesn't use up that softer rear tire, doing a great job with it.
Ooh, Henry Wiles, smoke coming out of the bike. He's in the battle inside the top 5 with Vanderkoy in the 20. Let's see if that bike can hold on. And holding on to the rear tire of Robinson is Mies. It's not quite over yet. Brent Armbruster, the crew chief for Robinson, very nervous as he's half a lap away from what would be his first victory since Lima in 2016, and I think he's got him covered. In and out of turn 4 we go. Brandon Robinson wins in Atlanta. 43 race winless streak for him. He went back to his old crew, and in just 2 races, they have delivered a victory, and that is an emotional winner on the 44. And you know, Mies wants to win every race he's in, but to get podium points after not finishing the first round, he's got to be pumped too. Everybody's happy for Brandon Robinson. After a dry spell, he takes the victory. Wiles, that bike held on. He takes 5th, just edging Carver, Halbert, Pegram, and Brian Smith. There is your entire 17-rider field in the AFT Twins division. Always good when we stick new contenders in the mix. It's Brandon Robinson. Here's how he did it, the Motul move of the race.
Yeah, he's been tracking him down all night. Works the high line. This is his favorite line. Gets to the outside. You can see Jared Mies just can't find that traction. Brandon Robinson does. Completes the pass. Goes on to win.
Had to track Mies down too. There was a bit of a deficit, but in the latter laps, Robinson did everything right, and he is on the podium with Kristen.
Brandon, amidst all the celebration, folks coming up, wishing you congratulations. It's been a while since you've been in victory lane, and you're really reeling in Jared Mies for the entirety of that race. What made it so challenging to pass him, and what allowed you to finally work your way around the defending champion?
Yeah, as wide as the track was and as big as the groove was, there's only about a 2 or 3 foot span that really had a lot of grip in it, and I just stalked them there, and I figured I didn't want to show my cards until it was too late, you know, and I didn't want to have them have a chance to get a retaliation on me, and man, I just bought my time, waited, and finally saw my openings to make a move, and then I went for it. So just extremely pumped that it all worked out and panned out. I'm in disbelief, man. This is the 6th time I rode this bike, and just extremely thankful for the Kennedy Racing team and my tuner, Brent Armbruster, for getting me dialed in today, and it was just magical, perfect. We were fast right off the truck and couldn't ask for anything better.
How big did confidence play a role in this win? Because it has been such a long time since you visited victory lane.
Yeah, you know, it's been a struggle the last couple of years, but I never doubted myself. I always believed I still had what it took to win, and it just took the getting back with the right team and having the right people surrounding yourself, and that's what happened again. And I'm back with the old gang, as they say, and man, I'm stoked. I can't believe it.
Yes, a dynamic trio. Armbruster, Kennedy, and Robinson in just their 2nd race back together, back on top in American Flat Track. Go celebrate. American Flat Track on NBCSN is brought to you by Vance & Hines, the presenting sponsor of AFT Twins. By Roof Systems of Dallas, Texas, the entitlement sponsor of AFT Singles. And by American Flat Tracker Clothing Company. Find your groove at AmericanFlatTracker.com. Sunoco Go the Distance Award standings. We total up every mile ridden in practice, qualifying, and racing. BRIAR BAUMAN. We'll give him the tiebreaker because he is the series points leader. Big tie at the top of those standings right now. Here are those standings. BAUMAN somehow able to rebound for a 3rd tonight, combined with his win at the opener. He has a slight edge on Robinson and Wiles. Mies quickly up to 5th in the standings, but he does have 20 points to make up after not finishing at the opener. Here he is on the podium.
Jared, after a disappointing outing in Daytona, you rebound here in Georgia. Something I noticed after that race, you and your team were actually surrounded the rear tire and looking at it. Did that play a factor?
A little bit. We ran a certain tire all day long, and then for the main event, we went to a softer compound, pretty much like everybody else. And we just started with too new of a tire, and you know, if you know this game, you know that sometimes that can bite you. But it was a huge rebound from last weekend. Brandon rode flawless. He rode awesome. I mean, you know, big congrats to him for struggling for 2 years and jumping on that fast Indy motorcycle and taking it right to the front. But good night for us, and we got about a month off, so we can get our ball bearings back together and come back to Texas and start winning.
Going to be hard to bet against Jared doing that. Let's send it back to Kristen with the points leader.
Thanks, Jason. Rounding out the podium tonight, BRIAR BAUMAN. Now, BRIAR, a three-way battle between Henry Wiles, Jeffrey Carver, and yourself. Take me through that battle.
First, I got to thank Indian Motorcycle, powered by Progressive. The bike was incredible all night again. We gambled a little bit in the main event, and it didn't really pay off because we were fastest most of the day. So it's just a learning curve. I've never been in this position before, so we're learning. But the battle was it was a war zone. I mean, there was a lot of lines on this racetrack that you could be running, and we ran a few of them. So everyone was in and out, and we were just chasing the track as much as possible. But fortunately for me, I made it out of that battle ahead of those guys. So yeah, we're happy to come home with a third. This is one of my least favorite racetracks, so a lot of progression from last year.
Next up, we're going to Texas, the Al Lambs Dallas Honda Texas Half Mile. You're familiar with Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit different of a racetrack than I'm used to there, but half-mile racetrack, it's going to be fun to watch and see if anybody can chase down BRIAR BAUMAN in that points lead.
The man they have to chase down in the singles class, Dalton Gauthier, after an emotional victory for him. Congrats to Brandon Robinson and the twins. For AJ Allmendinger and Kristen Beat, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching.